You know, as 2019 is drawing to an end and we're about to go into a new year, a lot of people think on terms of closing out a year, right? We want to, if you're like me, I'm at a stretch where, you know, some parts of 2019, I'm like, okay, we can just hold on for a minute. You know, it's the 28th already. We got 3 days. So can we just hold on for a minute? But then other parts, it's like, okay, can we just fast forward past this though? Can we just hurry up and get to 2020 for whatever God is going to bring in for the new year? And so people come up with New Year's resolutions, right? What they're going to do different in the next year than what they did before. I'm not pro or con to New Year's resolution. I personally don't do them. I'm not saying you don't. If that's something that would motivate you to take a step in your life and in your faith to do something positive, then by all means, get your resolution, put it on sticky, put it on the refrigerator or something, somewhere where you can see it every day, put it in your phone so it pops up and reminds you, whatever you got to do, you do. I don't do that, but I'm not against it. So if you're a New Year's resolution person, make them. Amen?
Amen.
But in thinking about closing out 2019 and going into 2020, I started thinking on this scripture in Hebrews 12. And I'll read it, and then we'll discuss a little bit about what I'm going to talk about today. It says, therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us also lay aside every encumbrance that is burden and weight, and the sin, the mistake, the offense, which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. You know, it's believed that Paul wrote Hebrew, although the real author is unknown. But the style of what's written in the Hebrew writing is very similar to Pauline type scripture. And so I'm just going to say Paul. But please know that we don't know for sure who the author is. In other texts that Paul wrote, other letters that he wrote, he literally wrote, I, the Apostle Paul, or whatever. He did a salutation that introduced himself, whereas we don't have that in the book of Hebrews. But you kind of do get the similarity in writing styles, which is why a lot of theologians believe it was probably Paul or someone that trained under him. I've always just attributed it to him. So I'm going to say Paul. Just disclosure. I don't want to say Paul and somebody looks at it like, Paul didn't write that. The pastor, he was wrong. You know, so put that out there first. But what I want to focus on is, I'll talk about all of it a little bit, but I want to focus on the end of verse 1, which says, let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. I was thinking about how, you know, in a race, several things happen. Right? I used to be a runner, so I don't know if any of you were runners, but if anybody played sports, for those older folks in here, then, you know, you had to condition your body to run, to do sprints. You had to condition your body to be able to sprint at times, to be able to reserve energy at times, and literally just kind of push yourself enough or exert enough force for whatever it is that you wanted to do in that moment. And so for me, I played basketball, I played soccer, but the thing that I enjoyed the most as I got out of high school and into the military was actually running distance, going for a 4-mile run, or going for an 8-mile run. You know, I remember how I used to feel, I mean, by the time you hit mile 6, when, you know, all of the pain that your body was dealing with, and you get your breathing down, and for a moment, you don't even feel like you're running. You don't even, it's like you're just coasting through. You know, they call it a runner's high. It's a sweet experience. If you've ever kind of gotten into running, and for the kids, if you're going to get into running, do that. I encourage it, long distance. So, but when I thought about the race, as Paul writes here, run with endurance the race that is set before us. When I thought about running a race, I thought about the fact that, I used to feel like I'm feeling about 2019 when I was running. Because there were times in a run that I sprinted. There was times that it was like, okay, I need a burst of speed right now to do whatever it is that I was trying to do. And then there was other times where literally I would throttle back and kind of coast, especially when it was like flat. When it was flat, a lot of people would sprint flat and take, coast on inclines and things like that. I always tried to kind of coast and reserve myself running flats. And anytime I had to go up an incline, to exert more energy. And I feel that way about 2019. So I'm thinking that maybe some of you do too. Some parts of it, you just want to sprint past. It's like, okay, the new year's around the corner, I'm ready for 2019 to end. But then there's other parts where you want to like, okay, let me just sit in this zone. I just want to jog here and coast a little bit. Running the race, it's interesting to me that in Hebrews, Paul writes about faith. He writes about our walk, this salvation walk that we're on, in terms of running a race. Of all the things he could have drawn an analogy and tried to parallel to give us understanding, it's interesting to me that he chose running. And there's nothing that we see in Scripture that even tells us that Paul ran, that he was a jogger or anything like that. Other than, there was probably times when people was chasing him and trying to take him out, that he felt like he needed to run a race for sure. But if you think about racing and actually running a race, once you make up your mind that you're going to run it, that you're going to start, the first thing most people do, and we learn this, especially going through sports in high school, is practice. Right? If you want to do sports, you make the decision that you're going to join a team. And the moment that you make a decision that you're going to join a team, there's a coach on that team that's going to set practice. And so you start going to practice so that you can get conditioned and you can learn to endure whatever it is for that race or that sport that you're going to play. Conditioning yourself. If you think of conditioning yourself on this salvation race that you're on, that conditioning would be maybe reading the Bible. Maybe conditioning would be praying or praying for other people. As we're told to stir up the gifts that's in us. Right? If we get into a habit of reading the Bible or praying and praying for people, then that is us practicing and building ourselves up. It's literally conditioning that we're putting ourselves through. It's ensuring that we're at a place in our walk that we're actually going to grow. And that's what practice does for you. Practice conditions your body and, believe it or not, your mind, so that you grow and be able to withstand whatever it is that you're conditioned for. Whether it's running a marathon or playing football. We practice so we are prepared to endure the run. Stirring up the gift that's in us. But think about running a race. On race day, when you come up to, if you've ever run in a big race, like if you did, a marathon, half marathon, 3 miles, and it was, what do they do out here? They do the color run or something like that. If you ever went out and did that, yes, I'm against it. But anyway, if you ever went out and did the color run, you notice that a lot of people who were excited about that would show up. And so the point being that you are reminded that there are others running with you. You're not racing this race alone. You're not running this race alone. So several people are usually at the starting line. We can kind of draw and look around today and we see that we have several people here that are at that starting line or maybe in the race. The point is that the salvation walk that we're on, this race that Paul talked about that we're running, we're not running it alone. And so we've got to be reminded of that. And Paul tells us that, look, there's a great cloud of witnesses surrounding us. Meaning, there's a whole lot of people that are running this race. It's not just you. It's not just you. Okay. But how many people here have felt like at times, it is just me? Right. I'm literally doing this alone. I feel like I'm alone. God is not even with me on this, right? We feel that way sometimes. It is just all us. But Paul tells us that's not true. There's a cloud of witnesses surrounding. There's people that are all on this journey. And if there wasn't another church on the planet, if this was the only one and we were the only group, we still wouldn't be alone because we can look around and say, okay, you know what? I know Ethan and Tatum, they're running this race too. I'm not alone. We're in this together. So we can dispel the lie that tries to get us to feel some kind of way about this salvation journey that for some reason isn't just us. It's not just us. We got fellow runners. And when you make that decision that you're going to run, right? And you decide if you're in school and you say, okay, I'm going to join this team and I'm going to run this race. What you're doing in joining a team spiritually is joining a church. It's the same concept. You've joined the team. At EoCC, we're all believers and we're trying to run this race together. Teams help support one another. Teams help provide these little things that we don't know, and so we learn from each other. For example, I didn't play football, but if I decided to play football, I know Ron did. So I can talk to my brother and be like, okay, man, you know what? I'm struggling in this area, and there's probably something that he can tell me or share with me that'll help give me a breakthrough. Maybe I don't really understand defense. Maybe I don't understand what it is to be a linebacker or something, and I was placed there. Right? We can draw on each other to get information that will help us on the journey. That's why we join a team. At the same time, when we put ourselves in a position to be coached, because if we join a team, there's usually a coach that's over the team that's trying to get everybody to learn what their position is and learn whatever the route is. If you're in a relay race, then they're going to figure out, okay, who is the best person to start? Who's the best person to finish? And who are those people we can plug into the middle? And then they're going to teach you technique and how to grab the baton and how to hand the baton. Right? So you have a coach that is going to teach you and to guide you through the race that you're running. So we join a church, we join that team. And then in churches you have pastors and leaders and deacons and prayer warriors. And you have all these people that are a part of a ministry that then is geared to be able to help coach and support one another, so we kind of learn what we can do and where we can do it to support the team. In other words, we're in this again, together. And we want to do our best to try to win. When you join a team, I'm harping on the race, right? When you join a team, you also have to be willing to give up resources. You have to be willing to give up your time. Because if there's practice, and you're going to be at practice so that you can condition yourself for the race that you're going to run, right? Church has services, so you're going to be at service so that, again, you can get the conditioning to grow. But you have to be willing to give up that resource. You have to be willing to give up your time. Right? You have to be willing to use what you have to get what you need for the race that you're going to run. Whatever that is. You may have to buy a uniform. You may have to pay for a field trip because you're going to go and run against another team or play another team. In other words, money is a resource that you also have to use. Right? This analogy that Paul used is just amazing. How it applies to our faith. And think about the stuff that we do when we're engaged in that process of getting prepared to run, to run this race that we've decided. We literally force our bodies to endure whatever that race is. We're going to endure practice. Usually, you practice so hard that when you get ready to run the race, running the race is made easy because you practice hard. That's what literally practice should be about. Now think about that. What if our practice of reading the Word and speaking the Word over our life and praying for others, what if we did that with such a fervency that in the need, in the moment that we run across somebody that we need to do that, it's made easy? I mean, it's a race. Maybe if we think about it like a race, it would make running the race of salvation, the race of faith, a little simpler. When you're in the moment of practice and you're trying to endure the race, your body gets tired. There's going to be aches and pains along the way. There's going to be stuff that hurts, right? And your body's going to want to quit. But if you made up your mind that you're going to run the race, that you persevere through the times. You persevere. When I first started to run, and I didn't really understand my body from the standpoint of running distance. Some people can eat and go practice. Right? When you're a kid, you don't think about eating and playing. You just do it. You go in the house, you get some food, you run back out, and you go back and play. Right? And so my mentality was I could eat at any moment. Well, when I started running distance, I figured out I can't do that. Because right at about mile 2, whatever I ate, I gave back to the world. my body wasn't made, so I had to eat a couple of hours before and then conserve energy before the run so that I had the energy I needed to endure it. Right? Some people would be up at the finish line taking the last bite of a protein bar before the bell or the gun goes off or something, and they take off. Some people can do that. I'm not one of them. I couldn't do that. Right? But I had to learn how to run. We practice in this race of salvation and doing things like reading the Word and praying, not because it's supposed to be second nature to us. Right? Running wasn't second nature to me, although Anthony would disprove that because he runs running all the time. But when I was conditioning and learning to literally run distance, I had to figure out how to do that. It's the same thing in your faith. A lot of us, we allow fear to creep in to this race of salvation. And that fear tells us that, I can't quote what verse, what page, and so I'm going to shy away from speaking to someone about what God has done for me. But you practice so that you can condition yourself. So that when opportunities come, you're good. In other words, when you're on the run, you can endure. You can persevere through it. I think that's a good perspective when you're struggling to pray, when you're struggling to read the Word. Those things help us to prepare for the leg of the race that we're about to run. Just think of that race. If you had to go and run right now, you wouldn't feel like it. Your body wouldn't want to do it. Right? But if you had made up your mind that, and you made a commitment that that's what you're going to do, you would push yourself to do it. Think of that race that way when you're trying to force yourself to read or to pray, because everybody gets into these laws. I don't care who you are. Everybody gets into this place where sometimes we end up going days and we remember that, man, I haven't read, or man, I haven't prayed. I used to have a prayer time and I had a set place, and all of a sudden life gets in the way and you find that you're not doing those things. And then the first thing we do, instead of just saying, okay, I'm going back to practice, we start to beat ourselves up. Oh, I can't play that game now. You don't see athletes doing that. Right? Seth Curry can miss 100 shots, and the next game he's going to shoot 50 more. What if we just look at this like a race, and we realize that there's going to be struggles when we run our leg? You know, a unique thing about running a race as well is that you only focus on the starting line at the very beginning of the race. After you take off, that starting line, that line that you had to start from, you never think of that line again. The moment you start running, it's forgotten. Nobody's running and a mile in, they say, man, I wonder, did I take off at that line right? Let me turn back around and go look at that line again. No one knew does that in a race. But we tend to do it in our faith walks. We tend to do it on this salvation journey. We want to focus on who we were at the start. Right? We said yes to Jesus, and he says, okay, you said yes to me, you're accepted. Guess what? You're no longer condemned. But we say, but, did you know where I was at? But, do you know what I've done? But, do you know what I'm thinking at this moment? But, we keep going back to the starting line for some reason. Think of this race that you're running. The moment you took off, the moment you said yes to Christ, that starting line, that was behind you. It was forgotten. Right? And so, who you were, where you were, what you were, how you were, let that be forgotten too, just like the starting line. Leave it at the yes when you said yes to God. And repentance is a thing for the race. Right? If it's not yes, I said yes years ago and I started running, but somehow, I started and I stepped in some mud. Imagine that when you say yes to Jesus, or if you're slipping and you want to kind of turn back to him, what if you didn't give it another thought, just like that starting line? What if you just turn and say, okay, I'm making up my mind to move forward. And so I'm not going to worry about how it looked yesterday, how it looked 5 minutes ago, how it looked before I walked in the door today, how it looked 5 seconds ago. What if I'm just going to say, I'm taking off, and the starting line is behind me? That would be awesome. If we would just think about our faith journey that way. You know, we don't even focus when you're running a race, you don't even focus on where you are at any given moment in the race unless it's in relation to how close you are to the finish line. In other words, you're running thinking about where you're going and the finish line that you're trying to get to, where you're trying to cross. You're not thinking about the step you just took. You're looking ahead. But what we do in this salvation walk is we will look at ourselves here today and say, man, how did I get here? Instead of saying, okay, I'm just going to, where is Jesus in this? I'm going to shift, and I'm looking for the finish line that is ahead of me because that's where I'm trying to get to. That's what runners do in a race. They only think about where they are in relation to the finish line. They don't think about where they are based on where they started. They don't think about where they are based on how that step they just took and how they landed. As long as they're still moving forward, it's in relation to the finish line. And their focus is on what's ahead of them. When you're running a race, your body is moving forward. We take the next step, trying to get to where we're going. If we step in the mud, if we slip, if we fall, those setbacks, those wrong turns, we get back up and we keep running the race. Because you think about it, most races, all races, are timed. And so we're running. We want to cross the finish line, and then the moment we cross, we want to know, what was my time? How fast did I run this race? Right? Your salvation race is timed. There's a clock ticking. There's a day when everybody leaves earth. Literally, you're heading towards a finish line. When you're running a race, you're trying to get there as soon as you can. You're trying to get there as swiftly as you can. You want to win. You're looking for victory when you're running. What if our salvation race was looked at that way? If we get injured or sidelined, if we're dealing with sin, but we are determined to run the race, we allow ourselves to heal. We rehab, we do therapy, right? All that we do. If you've never seen an athlete go out and they're running a race and they trip and they break an ankle, and they're still determined that I'm going to run that race. And like 6-8 months go by, 10 months go by, you don't hear anything about the athlete. And then the next race, they're back on the course. And you're like, man, did that guy break a leg? Yeah, he broke a leg. He went, he had a doctor repair it. He was put in a cast. The leg healed. Then he went to rehabilitation, to physical therapy. He worked that leg. He got himself back in shape. And he got back on the course to run. What's the point of all that? The point is that if you slip in the mud, if you're on the course and you misstep, or you take a wrong turn and you figure it out, you're going to get back to the trail so that you can get back on course and you can keep running. Nobody slips in the mud running a race and be like, wait a minute, let me go back and look. How much mud was that? How deep was it? No. If you're running a race and you slip, you keep going. If you don't fall, you keep going. If you get off course and you figure it out, you get back on, and guess what? You keep going. In other words, those things that happen to us on our salvation walk, there are things that literally, the only thing that's stopping us from moving forward is us. There's no reason not to move forward. We can literally make a decision and get back on course and start back running. At the same time, if you trip and fall and break something, if you step in the mud and it actually was not just mud, but quicksand, and you stuck, somehow you got stuck, right? Those are the times where you're going to look for help. And it's the same thing with the salvation journey. If we find ourselves stranded somewhere, see, we look at it as being stagnant spiritually, right? The stagnant word. Ooh, it's like spooky. I'm stagnant. we get stuck somewhere along the way. When you are stuck, when you are injured, you are hurt, those are the times that in your faith walk, you're supposed to ask for help. Right? Look at it like a race. If you were injured on the course, you'd hope somebody would come along and help get you back to medical attention, and then medical people are going to help you, and especially if you broke something, they're going to repair it. Right? You're going to, asking for help during an injury, it is like second nature. Right? I broke an ankle. The moment I broke that ankle, I was like, okay, somebody take me to the hospital. I didn't have to think about asking for help. It was immediate. But what we do in this walk of salvation is the moment that we're stuck, we do this. Is anybody doing stuff? We don't want nobody to know that, I'm struggling right now. No. Right? Because we're supposed to be super saints. That's a lie. Guess what? Everybody gets stuck. Paul wrote a dissertation on it. I'm doing the things I don't want to do. But when you get stuck, that's when you have to have people in your life that you know you can trust. And that should be those people who are on the race with you. Because truthfully, mature Christians, now this gets somebody toes, well, then you deserve it. Some of you young folks. Mature Christians, we shouldn't be judgmental. If somebody came to us and said, you know, man, I'm dealing with this, I'm stuck right now, I don't even know how I got here, can you just pray for me? Can you be my partner right now that if I start to struggle, you know what, I can call you. And what someone should do is not judge you. Because you know what? Tomorrow they'll be stuck. That's the truth. Tomorrow they'll be stuck. And if they judge you, then they're going to be the first ones to do this when they're stuck. You ain't going to see it. That's why people swing in the church. And the moment it's like all of a sudden, man, I ain't seen so in years. They stop. But instead of realizing there's people they can trust, they don't want nobody to know what they're going through. So it's that hiding coming in. Nobody runs a race that way. People on the racetrack, if they get injured, they ask for help. And others who are on the racetrack know that it could have been them. So they don't judge and condemn. They try to help. That's what we all should be doing. If you get stuck in the mud, get back up. But if you're injured, it is okay to ask for help and to accept it from someone. You know, I love how Paul says, run with endurance the race that is set before us. The end of verse 1. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. When you run a race, your choice in it is things like, yes, I'm going to participate, I'm going to run. That's your choice. If it's a race that you're running, the sneakers I wear. If you're playing football, you got to wear cleats. But they don't normally tell you, well, you know, it's got to be Adidas, it's got to be black and white, it's got no. Normally you pick the brand you want. There might be a color theme for your team, but you get to make choices, right? What you don't choose if you're running a race is the course. You don't get to make that choice. Nobody says, I'm going to go out and I'm going to run a half marathon. And then they go look at the judge and say, okay, this is the course I'm going to run. You can try it and see if it works. No, somebody else has set the course for you. And if you make the decision that you're going to run the race, you don't even know the course that you're going to run most of the time. You just go out with everybody else, get at the start line, and then you take off and you start running. That's your salvation journey. See, God already knew your yes. From the beginning, He set your course. That was all predetermined. So the moment you said yes to running the course, however it looked. Despite what it looked like. See, we have a tendency to get caught up on how difficult it is at a time or a moment. Or why I'm going through X, Y, Z, or how did this happen to me? What we should realize is, wait a minute, okay, the course was set before me. My job is to run with endurance. Run with endurance. You run your course with endurance. Just like if you were running on that trail, you would believe that you could make it. Most people don't run a race thinking that they can't finish. Even if they got to walk the finish line, they believe that they're going to get across it. So we should run our salvation race the same way. Navigating through what we face in life while we're continuing on our journey with Christ. Run with endurance. That means that whatever the race throws at you, you're not going to give in. You're not going to give way. You're going to face it. And you're going to continue to stand in your faith. And He gives us a key to help us. He says, fix your eyes on Jesus. That's what He says. As you're running this race, fix your eyes on Jesus. Jesus is literally the finish line that we are looking for. He tells us that He ran His race. He endured the worst race of all. and he won his seat. By focusing on him, enduring our own run, we too can join him at the finish line. And that's the whole point of the analogy that Paul gives us. Because at any point in this journey that I'm on, if I look at Christ as the finish line, then I can literally judge my distance. The word tells us, don't think more highly of yourself. In other words, know that, you know what, you're human. Know that you're not perfect. If we were, he wouldn't have had to come to perfect us. Right? Our perfection is in him, not in us. So understand that, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to him, because that's where my finish line is, and I'm going to judge myself based on that. And then I'm going to say, okay, God, now we're going to get into the practice mode. I'm going to work on the things I need to work on to run the race right. To literally be better at this run. To condition myself for the run. And I'm going to keep focused on you so that when I slip, it's all right, I'm still looking at you. If I fall, I'm going to ask for help, but I'm getting back up and I'm looking at you. He is the finish line that we're running to. He's where we're going. What if you ran your race of salvation that way? What if you thought about it that way? You know, as your 2019 draws to an end, I hope you can turn your focus to what's ahead of you in 2020 and start preparing for that leg of the race. Being even more determined to see Christ every step of the way. That's my focus for 2020. As much as I look forward and am trying to halt 2019 at the same time, I still understand that I'm running a race. And the finish line I'm looking towards is Christ. And I've got to compare where I'm at to where he's at, and I can figure out, okay, how I need to run as I move forward. Understanding that what he has for me, what he has for you, what he wants for you, amen, is your best. Because he's given us nothing less than his. He's given us his best. I pray that blesses you. I pray that your 2020 is not only blessed, but that if somewhere along the line in 2019 you fell short in areas, it's my hope and prayer that you find yourself succeeding there in 2020. That you get back to the practice, to conditioning for the run that you're running. That you look at your race a little bit differently. You accept the shortfalls. You accept where you misstep. You accept the things that you could have done better. But then at the end of the day, you stand back up and you say, okay, Jesus, I'm going to fix my sights back on you. And I'm going to start running this again. I pray that that's your 2020. That if you found sadness in 2019, in 2020, there's joy. That if there were times of sorrow in 2020, there's going to be happiness. That if your 2019 was full of sickness, that 2020 is going to be the healthiest year for you yet. That it's going to be the leg of the race where your faith grows. Where you mature as believers. Where we mature as a body. Where we literally start setting our sights on bigger things that God has for us. When we step out of the mundane and all of the muck that tends to try to pull us down. And that the word that somehow in the faith was made to be a bad word, but it's not. It was just misappropriated. is that your life is full of prosperity in every area. God has the best for us on this run that we're on. Our job is to continue to run it and to make sure we're conditioning ourselves and we're there for each other and we're helping one another so that our 2020 will be head and shoulders above any and everything that we found in 2019. God bless you all. I hope it gives you good things to think about, maybe some deep thought, but at the same time that you evaluate the race that you're